Okay, so for centering today, I'm going to suggest a supine shavasana, so all the way down on your back. If that does not fit for you today for whatever reason and you prefer a different centering position, go ahead and take what you'd like. Otherwise, we'll come all the way to the back, settle in. Notice that sensation again of all the backside of the body being able to be supported and released. And the shoulders and the hips soften and be supported by the floor. Back of the head, ankles, heels, and the hands. Everything supported. If it's comfortable for you, you're welcome to close your eyes. If you prefer to not do that, then just bring the eyelids to half closed. Bring our focus and our attention to the breath or to your version of an anchor that works for today. That may be keeping your mind focused on each inhale flowing into each exhale. Maybe taking the exhale a count or two longer than the inhale. It may be focusing on the color blue for today as we support the throat energy center. Or it may be any affirmation that goes along with that throat energy center, such as, I know my truth. I am worthy of my truth. I speak honestly. I value others' truths. I can be a good listener. Any of those affirmations resonate with you, then hold those in your thoughts and use any one of them as an anchor, either along with or instead of your breath or the color. If you notice your mind slipping away from that anchor, might happen time and again. Notice other thoughts trying to intrude, other stories that are trying to take important first place. Know that you can always gently remind Retention and focus to stay on that anchor. Your mind attached to the anchor, we're going to slide the bottoms of the feet to the floor, knees up to the ceiling. Heels as close as to the seat as is comfortable for your knees, low back, hips. Taking an inhale to prepare. On an exhale, press the low back down into the ground as if you're imprinting the lumbar spine on the mat. Inhale to release. Exhale, press the low back down. Now this time on the inhale, press into the bottoms of the feet. Gently float the hips up. And you can just come up an inch or two, just starting to warm it up. Then on the next exhale, lower it down slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Once you land the tailbone and sacrum, then it's an inhale. Exhale to press that low back into the mat. Inhale to press into the feet, float the hips. Maybe this time you're able to come up a bit higher. And then on the next cycle of exhale, lowering down one vertebrae at a time. Inhale when you land the sacrum down. Exhale to press the low back into the mat. Inhale, float the hips up, and this time bring the arms with it, landing the hands over the head. Hold for that cycle of breath. And then on the exhale, as you lower the hips, bring the arms all the way back to the side body. Inhale to release. Exhale, press the low back down. Inhale, float the hips, lift the arms. Take a breath. Exhale, release it down. Do one more. Exhaling to press it down. Inhaling, lifting the hips, lifting the arms. Take that breath. Exhale, release. Bring everything down. This time inhaling, draw the knees in towards the chest. Hands can be behind the thighs or fronts of the shins. We're going to start with rocking side to side. Just gentle shift from one side of the pelvis to the other. And then we're going to shift that to front and back. So just starting to rock the knees forward and back. Maybe enough that you can start to bring some movement along the spine, rolling it back and forth. 2, 3, maybe 4 times, and eventually getting enough momentum to roll up to a seat. If that doesn't resonate with you today, go ahead. Move your legs over to one side or the other. Help yourself up to a seated position in any way that makes sense for you. Any comfortable seated position, including using a chair if that works for you today, or any arrangement with your legs. We're going to lower the palms to the legs. Again, closing the eyes if that's comfortable for you, or just half closed. Taking an inhale. Lift the chin as much to the ceiling as the back of the neck is comfortable with right now. Maybe that's just a half an inch. On the exhale, lower the chin towards the chest, any amount. Notice what sensations you're feeling in the neck, upper back, and shoulders. Inhale, lift the chin. Just gently, not going all the way with the skull to the back, just lifting up the chin gently. And then exhale, lower the chin to the chest. This time on the inhale, you're going to draw the chin along the right collarbone, coming up the chin towards the right shoulder and gazing over the right shoulder. Notice what sensations you might have on the left side. Taking an inhale here. Exhale, draw that chin down to center. Inhale, coming up the left collarbone, so looking over the left shoulder. And then exhale, lower it down. This time we're going to inhale, bring the chin up parallel to the floor. Excuse me. Exhale, ear over to the right shoulder. Breathe there. Notice the sensation again on the right side. Also an option to just centimeter by centimeter start to shift the chin and down, forward and back. Notice if that shifts where you feel sensation or how much sensation. Eventually finding the spot that maybe feels like it needs it the most and holding there and breathing. Inhale, lift the crown of the head to the ceiling. Exhale, lower the left ear to the left shoulder. Breathe. And then again, just small little micro movements with the chin, up and down, forward and back. Again, landing where you can feel that perhaps maybe the soft tissue needs the most attention. Breathe there. Perhaps imagining on the exhale, just a bit of tension, leaving that space. Inhaling, chin up, roll the shoulders to the back, and then around to the front, shaking up the hands. We're going to make our way to tabletop. You can either swing the legs around to the side, roll over the knees, whatever makes sense for you. Landing the palms down on the floor, hips stacked over the knees. Going to take an inhale, lift the chin, lift the tail. On an exhale, tuck the chin, tuck the tail. Doing 2 more rounds of cow and angry cat at your pace with your breath. And now we're going to come into cow. Take that inhale. And you have the option to do lion's breath. Lion's breath is really supportive of our throat chakra. It helps to release the jaw, the neck, lengthens the neck, releases jaw, releases the tongue. It does look a little bit unusual, but I'm going to take an inhale to prepare here in cow. And then on an exhale, tongue goes out, mouth opens, and you scrunch up the face like as if you're a lion roaring. Doing it again, taking an inhale in neutral spine, coming into cow pose, exhale, lion breath. We'll just do that one more time. Inhale in neutral spine, exhale and release in lion's breath. And then inhale back to neutral spine. Walking those hands forward a bit. We're going to exhale, keeping the seat lifted, lowering the forehead to the ground. Feel the sensation of opening up across the upper back and shoulders into puppy pose. Breathe here for 2 breaths. Inhale to lift the head, step the hands back, come all the way to the knees. Always having the option to double pad the knees if that feels better for you. Taking the hands back around behind you, fingertips pointing down towards the seat, elbows pulling together. Taking an inhale, gently lift the chin, maybe to where the wall meets the ceiling in front of you. Using the base of the palms to support the mid and low back. And then take an inhale, lift up. Your exhale comes back into puppy pose. Take another breath here. And then inhale, walk the hands, come back up to a stand on the knees. Exhale the hands back behind you. This time we're going to take an inhale. I'm going to offer half camel starting on the right side. Reach the left arm up. Right hand can stay at the back. Maybe it comes to the thigh, or perhaps that right heel is a fit for you. And then both shoulders face the ceiling. Exhale the left hand to the back. Bring the right hand to the back. Lift yourself up. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale in the puppy pose. Inhale, lift up. Reach the arms up. This time you're going to exhale that left hand either to the back, the thigh, or the left heel. Square the shoulders to the ceiling. Lifting the gaze towards the right hand. And then the left hand comes back to the low back. Right hand meets it. And exhale, lower down to the puppy. And then inhale, lift up, bring those hands, into those nice wide starfish. You're going to either stay right here in tabletop or start to walk the legs back, pressing the feet, the balls of the feet into the floor, coming into either knees up or knees down plank. Hold here for 1 minute. Exhale, shift forward, squeeze the elbows into the rib cage. You can do this either from tabletop or any variation of plank, lowering all the way down, landing the chest near the floor. Then we're going to inhale, baby cobra, just floating the hands and lifting the sternum away. Exhale to release. Inhale, tuck the toes into the floor. Exhale, push the floor away. You can stay in that tabletop or lift the hips, downward facing dog. Hold here for 1 more breath. Inhale the gaze to the hands. Step the feet forward. Exhale. Come into forward fold. The tension on the back of the neck. Inhale, hands to shins, extend the spine into half fold. And then exhale, forward. Pressing into the feet, inhale, lift the torso, reach the arms, come up to standing at the top of the mat. Exhale to release the hands down. And then with the feet as your foundation, all of the joints stacked, crown of the head lifted towards the ceiling, upper arms open near the chest. I'm going to take an inhale to prepare. As you exhale, turn the chin to the right shoulder. Notice how far you're able to look over that right shoulder with comfort. Exhale back to center. Taking an inhale to prepare, do the same thing now to the left. Looking over as far as you can to the left with comfort. And then bring it back to center. Now releasing that right hand, you're going to keep your eyes on the fingertips the entire time. You're going to take an inhale, draw that right hand and arm up and forward, and then circle it back and around behind you. Gaze on the fingertips the entire time. We're going to do it this direction, cycles. That's 2. And then 3. Pause at the leg and reverse the circle, keeping the eyes on the tips of the fingers. One more circle. And release it down. Doing that same thing now on the left arm. So drawing that arm forward, up, back, and down, gazing on the tips. 2 more rounds. And then reverse the circle. Keep the breath flowing. Whatever rate makes sense for you, keep breath your focal point or your anchor. 1 more circle. Exhale to release it down. And then we're going to repeat that next stretch. Take an inhale. As you exhale, turn the chin to the right. Notice if there's a release that you're able to go further towards the right. More space and more comfort. Inhale back to center. Same thing to the left. Inhale back to center. Roll the shoulders. And back. Shake it out. Nice. Now take an inhale. Lift the arms up. On an exhale, bring the hands together. Soften the knees. Pull the tailbone forward and just a bit of a baby back bend. And then as you exhale, bending the knees, bringing the hands through heart center, bringing the hands down to the ground into your forward fold. Either that or into any type of bent knee, hands on the shins, supporting that low back and hip strength. Then take an inhale, press into the shins, extend the spine up. And exhale, forward fold. Now we're going to walk our feet back behind us again. This time you're going to land either in that tabletop, or if you prefer, you're going to step all the way back into your variation of a plank pose. It can be knees down or knees up. Taking 1 more inhale here. Exhale, press the shoulders forward, lower down into chaturanga, and then inhaling into your version of a back extension. So you can go back and repeat that baby cobra, or you can come now into a high cobra. If you do, you can keep the chin parallel to the floor, or to lengthen the front of the neck again, maybe a bit of a gaze up towards the ceiling. Exhale to release everything now. Tuck the toes into the mat on an inhale. Exhale, push the floor away, either tabletop or downward facing dog. Inhale the gaze towards the hands, step or walk the feet forward. Exhale into forward fold. Inhale the hands to the hips, round the spine up. Your right foot stays as your anchor. You're going to step that left foot back onto the ball mound of the foot, coming into high crescent lunge. So your shoulders and shoulder blades stay down, shoulder blades melting towards the back waist. Your front knee is going to bend as deeply as is appropriate for you today. Your back knee also bending so that you can bring the right hip and the left hip more parallel. And then inhale, reach the arms up to the ceiling. Gaze towards the fingertips. If the gaze on the fingertips is not a fit for you, you're going to lower your gaze down towards the mat in front of you. Take another inhale here. On an exhale, you're going to lower that back heel down to the ground. And then reaching the right arm long, you're going to reach the left hand back behind you, either wrapping it around the low back or hand down to the back thigh behind you. Gazing up at those fingers again, if that's appropriate, or maybe down towards your big toe on the right foot. Variation of reverse warrior, one more breath here. Now inhale, lift that left arm back up and come right into Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Exhale to release the hands down. You're going to interlace the fingers behind you, staying in a Warrior 1 position with your feet. Take an inhale, lift the sternum towards the ceiling, and then exhale, start to fold forward. Now, it may be that it's appropriate more for you to stay with the chest lifted. Maybe it's appropriate to bring that shoulder down inside the right knee, or anywhere in between there. Whichever position you are in, we're going to just hold for one more breath. And then exhale to release the hands down. You're going to frame that front right foot and then lower the back knee down to the ground, coming into a low crescent. Take another inhale here. Now, you're welcome to stay right where you are. Otherwise, I'm going to offer 2 or 3 variations. One is to just bring the wrists or forearms up to that front thigh. Pause there. Another is, flip this direction so you can see what's happening with my back leg. Another is to stay there with the forearms and float the back foot up. And then the last variation is to take that left hand, bring it around to the left heel, and then, if you choose, lift the sternum to the ceiling in front of you, maybe lift the chin. Again, only if it's a fit for your cervical spine. Exhale to release if you have the foot, and then bring both hands inside that right foot. You can hang out here. If you have blocks or any sort of props and you want to bring the hands or the forearms to those in front of you, that's an option. If bringing the elbows to the floor is an option, you can take that variation. Coming into a bit of a hip opener, lizard lunge. One more breath. And then bring the hands back to the floor if they're not already there. You're going to tuck those back toes into the floor, float the back knee up, and start to yogi walk, bringing yourself around to face the long edge of the mat. Taking an exhale, you're going to forward fold, letting the head hang tight. Now, with the toes mostly pointing forward, if that's comfortable in your ankles, or adjusting the feet and ankles as you need. You're going to start to walk the hands back as much as is comfortable for your wrists. So maybe it's an option to bring the base of the palm right at the wrist to be in line with the back of the heels. That's an option. Otherwise, as far back as is comfortable for you. As you're ready, start to lower the crown of the head towards the floor. If it's available, maybe you're bending the elbows. And if it feels more appropriate in your body, you're bending knees and lifting the seat to the ceiling. Shoulder blades pulling down towards the back waist. Inhale, walk yourself forward, bring the hands to the hips, and start to curl the spine. Coming all the way up to standing, you're going to keep The back foot, pretty much where it is, the front toes are going to point towards me. Now again, adjusting the angle of the feet and the ankles as you need to, and making sure that that front knee is not locked out. Facing the side of the mat, extend the arms long from the shoulders in the letter T, take an inhale here. Exhale to shift the hips back, the left hip back towards the left wrist. Gaze comes out over the right fingertips as you reach the right hand forward and then teeter-totter down. Lifting that left hand up to the ceiling, gaze is either going to be on the left thumb and the left thumb over the mouth, or gaze down towards the right toes, triangle pose. Whichever variation you are, and it may be that the hand is here just below the knee, it may be that the hand is just above the knee, does not matter. The main point is that you are trying to keep that chest open to the long edge of the mat. You notice that you're starting to let that left arm kind of fold forward or the chest cave down, then maybe lift up a bit on the right leg. One more breath here. And then exhale the left hand to the left hip, softening the right knee and lift yourself up. Now, if you have a chair or a yoga block or any sort of prop handy, we're going to go into balancing half moon. I will show it with this chair here. So you've got your left hand on the left hip. You're going to bring that right hand forward. Start to press off from that left foot until you can bring your weight onto the right foot. Again, same concept of keeping that chest up, lifted, and open to the long edge of the mat. And then reaching the left arm up. And gaze can either stay right out in front of you, gaze might be down, or gaze can be up at the left hand. If you would like one more variation, you're going to reach that left hand back around to the front of the left ankle and come into one more hip opener, similar to what we did on the floor. So this is a balancing half moon with the bind on the front ankle. I'm going to take one more breath here. And then exhale, release it down. Coming to a stand at the top of the mat. If you are using a chair or any sort of prop, I'm going to suggest that you move it now so that it is next to the right leg. You're going to bring all of your weight into the left leg. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm getting us set up, it doesn't really matter where your prop is. You might actually need it on the left leg. You're going to bring all the weight into the left leg. Your right toes are going to either be kickstand down, or you're going to lift that heel up behind you. Or you're going to reach that right hand back around behind you. Grab the front of the right foot, either from the inner arch, turn this way so you can see better, or from the outer arch, whichever you prefer. Once you have the bind with the foot, if that's where you're going, you're going to reach the left hand out and forward, take an inhale to prepare. And then as you exhale, press the right hand into the right foot into the right hand, and come into King Dancer. Again, if you've got that chair, you can have the left hand on the chair, hold for one more breath. And then exhale. Step both feet at the top of the mat. Move the proper way so that you don't bump it as we move into the next series. And stand. Joints stacked, crown of the head to the ceiling. Maybe take a moment to close your eyes. Check in. Notice what you're feeling sensation-wise in the two legs. Notice if it feels different between the two legs. Leave the eyes open. Inhale, reach the arms up. Hands together, soften the knees, tuck the tailbone. Exhale, baby back bend. Inhale and lift. Hands through heart center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to the floor, step the feet back, either tabletop, knees down, or knees up, plank. Exhale, bend the elbows, squeeze them in, lower all the way down to the floor. Inhale, either that baby cobra, high cobra, or if you choose, pressing the tops of the feet into the floor, lifting the thighs off the floor, upward facing dog. Exhale to release that all down. Tuck the toes into the mat on an inhale. Exhale, push the floor away, either tabletop or downward facing dog. And then inhale, step it forward, hands behind the palms, forward fold. Inhale, hands into the shins, half lift. Exhale and release. Inhale, hands to the hips, lift the torso up, bring all the weight into the left foot. Release the right foot, slide it back, landing with the ball of the right foot, the right heel lifted, left knee bending as much as is appropriate on this side. Right knee bending to try and keep that right pelvis moving forward in line with the left. Inhale to reach the arms up, high crescent lunge. One more breath here. And then now, as we exhale, you're going to lower that right heel down to the floor. Left arm stays lifted, left knee stays bent. Right hand either wraps around behind to the back waist or down the right leg, variation of reverse warrior. Take another breath here. And then on your next inhale, reaching both arms up, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale the hands down, interlace the fingers behind you. This time, interlace them in a way that feels less comfortable, a little bit more awkward. Squaring the shoulders towards the top of the mat as much as is comfortable for you. Lift the sternum any amount. And then exhale, hinge forward from the hips, coming into a variation of humble warrior that's a good fit for you on this side. So it could be partially down, it could be left shoulder inside the left knee. Take one more breath here. Exhale to release. Hands frame the front foot, and then pivot on the ball of the back foot so that you can lower the back knee down. Same variations on this side as we did the first side, so you may want to stay right here. It may be that you lift up just the forearms on the left thigh, or stay there and at the same time float the right foot up forward. If you want the one last variation, you're going to release the right hand. Release the right hand, bring it back to the right heel. And then again, as much as is appropriate, squaring the shoulders towards the front. Take another breath here. Exhale to release. This time, you're going to bring both hands inside that front foot. Perhaps you stay here, perhaps you have blocks to lift the floor up higher to the hands, or perhaps bring the elbows to the floor. Take another breath. And then your inhale lifts that back knee off the floor. Start to pivot so you can yogi walk to face the long edge of the mat, the other direction. Then adjust your feet, possibly toes pointing straight ahead, feet squared off to the edges of the mat, or adjusting the ankles as you need to. We're going to do that same thing, walking the hands back, opening up the fronts of the wrists until you reach an angle that is appropriate for you. Once you're there, take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, bending the elbows, lowering the crown of the head to the floor. Doesn't mean it's touching, just moving that direction. And bending the knees to release low back, hamstring pain, or anything that's causing discomfort. Always an option. Inhale to walk the hands back, soften the knees, hands to the hips, and lift the torso. Right foot stays where it is, left toes point towards me. Inhale, extend the arms long. Now you're going to keep that front leg slightly soft. You don't want that knee locked out. You're going to shift the right hip towards the right hand. Extend the left arm out and long, and then teeter-totter, coming into Trikonasana. Triangle pose, thumb over the mouth, gaze either on that right thumb or down towards the left toes or straight out in front of you, depending on what your neck is asking for. Either way, opening up the chest, feeling that opening from the right armpit along the side body to the top of the pelvis. Take one more breath here. Exhale the right hand to the right hip. Now this is again where we're going to want that prop. So if you've got a chair or some sort of prop handy, you're going to bring it in front of you. You're going to release that left hand. Start to step your right foot forward any amount until you can catch your balance. Left hand can be on the chair, on a block, or all the way down to the floor, or you could just float the left hand. Right hand stays on the right hip, or right hand can float up to the ceiling. Once you have your balance, hold and breathe, finding a narrow point for your gaze, something small out in front of you. And if you took it on the other side and you would like to do that bind on this side, it's reaching that right hand to the front of the right ankle and opening up the front of the body on the right side. Taking one more breath. Exhale to release it. Step it forward up to the top of the mat. Keep the chair where it is or switch it to the other side. We're going to go into that king dancer. So if you would like the prop, you know where we're headed. This time all the weight comes into the right foot. You're going to float that left knee, or just keep the toes kickstand, or float the foot up back behind you. Any of those variations, you're going to hang out right there. Next variation is to take that left hand, bring it around behind you, grabbing the front of the left foot. Hand can be on the prop, or you can reach that right hand out in front of you as if you're serving somebody. Kick the left foot into the left hand presses into the foot, and then teeter-totter forward slowly, king dancer. Taking one more breath here. Exhale to release. Again, take that time to do a reassessment, standing with the feet supported, joints stacked, crown of the head lifting to the ceiling. Mind settled on its anchor, or the breath, one of your affirmations, or the color blue. Inhale, lift the gaze to the hands, hands to the ceiling. Exhale, hands to heart center, forward fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend the knees, hands down to the mat. Step the feet back, landing into tabletop. Now from here, you're going to have a couple different variations. The first one, more than a couple, but the first variation is we're going to come into your version of pigeon pose, whatever that might look like today. That could be pulling that right knee up to the right wrist, angling the right heel over to the left, either towards the left groin or maybe out to the left side of the mat, flexing that right foot, and then walking the left toes back until you're landing that right hip down on the ground. There you can hang out with your hands right here. You can lower down to your elbows, or you can put your forehead down. If this is not a fit for you for whatever reason, usually it's low back or knees or hips, you're going to instead take it on your back. Cross the right leg over the left, and then pull the knee up towards the chest any amount. Or if you're feeling enough sensation in that right hip here, you're going to hang out right here. Variation chosen. We're going to hang out for one more breath here. Sorry, 3 more breaths here, not one. And then, as you finish your 3rd breath, stop it back. Or if you are on your back, you're just going to switch sides. Otherwise, you're going to walk that left leg forward until you have leverage. Just pull the right leg back, come to tabletop, and then we'll just switch sides. So it's the left foot that comes across to the right side, either the groin or the side of the mat, or you are on your back and the left ankle is crossed over the thigh. Once you have it settled, you're in the prone pigeon, you're going to either stay on your hands or and to your breath here, side to breath. Excuse me, if you are in prone pigeon, you're going to walk yourself back so you can come to that left hip. Swing the right knee around. If you're on your back, I invite you to roll up to a seated position. Toes pointed straight ahead. Bring those hands, reach them back behind you, fingertips pointed towards your seat. Now, if this is not comfortable on your wrist, we're certainly welcome to angle the hands in any other direction that might be a better fit for you. Otherwise, press into the palms, into the bottoms of the feet, and float the hips up. First tabletop, chin tucked towards the chest, shoulder blades squeezing together back behind you. Exhale, release down. Now do that again. You're either going to repeat that reverse tabletop, or extend the legs long, point the toes away from you, engage the core, take an inhale to prepare, press into the palms and heels, and float yourself up to reverse plank. Again, shoulder blades together behind you, chin can either stay at the chest, or inhale, gaze to the ceiling, chin up towards the ceiling. Take one breath. Exhale. And then, now with your legs already out in front of you, you're going to make your way onto your back, whichever way makes the most sense for you. Come down, fully reclining. To lift your hips enough so that you can slide your palms underneath your seat. And then with the knees bent, tuck the knees up into the towards, well, I should say the shins facing the ceiling. That's what I'm trying to say. Now you're either going to stay here and alternate tapping the toe down, or extend the legs up, feet are flexed, and you can alternate legs. Or taking an inhale to prepare, On an exhale, lower both legs, lower, lower, hover over the floor. Inhale and lift, lift, lift to 90 degrees. Chin is tucked towards the chest on this. Exhaling, lower, lower, lower. Inhaling, lift, lift, lift. Again, if you don't want both legs, lowering one time. Or if you bent, lowering one leg. Do one more. Lower, lower, lower. Inhale, lift, lift. Release the hands, release the head. Exhale and hold. The hands from the legs. Lower the feet down to the floor. Taking an inhale, draw the right knee towards the right armpit, just going in that general direction. Left foot can stand on the floor, or you can extend it off. Pulling that right thigh alongside the right rib cage, breathe here. And taking an inhale to prepare, you're going to bend the left knee. On an exhale, draw the right knee towards the left. Gaze towards the right, super twist. Breath. Inhale everything to center. Exhale to recenter. Inhale, bring the left thigh up and out to the side of the torso. Routing either behind the thigh, front of the shin. Squeeze the thigh into the left side body as you breathe. Right leg can stay there, or you can step. Inhale, you're welcome to draw that right back up to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, lower both knees over to the right. Your gaze is coming towards the left shoulder and rest in supine twist. Actually, your inhale draws the knees back to center, draws the chin up. And I'm going to finish with fish pose. I'm going to show you 2 or 3 different variations. The first one is starting with what we've just done when we came for back. So you're going to inhale, float the hips, slide, palms down, land the sacrum, pelvis on top of the hands. And then keep the knees bent if you'd like, if that's going to be better for your low back. We might need to try it both ways once you get into it. Certainly an option. Or you can extend the legs long, toes pointing away. Then tuck the chin into the chest to prepare. You're going to press into the hands and forearms. Float the back of the head and the top of the torso up until you can pull the elbows together underneath you. Then, with your gaze either at your feet, chin tucked, or gaze up towards the ceiling, pulling the shoulder blades together underneath breathe here in fish pose. Again, like I said, when you planted, that's better. Another variation for this, if you have a yoga block, an extra mat, or a rolled up blanket or towel, take that and run it along the length of your spine so that as you come into that fully reclined or knees bent fish pose, then instead of your hands, you're letting the entire spine be supported by that prop, especially if it's a blanket, towel, or yoga mat. If it's a block, it's a little less of the whole spine and more just the mid-back. If it is a yoga block, make sure that the head, the skull, is still being supported. You don't want the head just hanging in air with all the weight on the back of the neck. If you are in a fish pose that is not supported by a prop, I invite you to take an exhale, release your hands, lower yourself all the way down into your final resting pose. If you are in this version of a restorative fish pose with the prop supporting you, then you have the option of hanging out here for your final rest pose, or the prop and coming into your version of a final rest pose. So making your, either staying where you are if you want a restorative fish pose, or making your way into your final rest. Settling your anchor, settling your mind back on your anchor again. Either your breath, your affirmation, the color blue, or a combination of those. Closing the eyes if that's safe and comfortable in your space. And if you need a reminder, get affirmations. It's anything that has to do with sharing your truth with the world honestly, and being able to accept truths of others around you. Gently, slowly starting to bring small movements back into the body. Possibly starting rubbing the tips of the fingers over the tip of the thumb, or wiggling fingers and toes. Letting that movement move to wrists and ankles, hips and shoulders, elbows and knees. Then Either rolling to your side, rolling up, or if a long full body stretch feels good before you to seated position, then go ahead and do a fingertip to toe tip stretch. Either way, making your way eventually up into a comfortable seated pose. Going to do the knot mudra, Svantakita. It's interlacing the 3 last fingers together and then tucking them inside the palms. And then you're going to make rings with the right index finger and right thumb and the left index finger and left thumb and interlace them. Hold that right at the chakra. Take in a lengthened inhale. Exhale into an open mouth sigh, an audible noise. Do that again. Continue that. Or you can come into Pranahari breath, Pranahari Pranayama, which is bumblebee breath. So it's an inhale, lengthen through the nose. And an exhale, humming like a bumblebee, slightly seal. So either the inhale followed by an open mouth sigh or the inhale followed by the bumblebee. Two more rounds. On the next exhale, gently, slowly releasing the mudra, palms down on the knees. Knowing that at any time, any type of humming, chanting, singing can help, those vibrations can help to balance the chakra. If we are holding our truth, if we are honest with ourselves, honest with the universe, any of those options of opening the neck, front of the throat, the jaw, the tongue, or focusing on the color. Take an inhale and bring a moment of gratitude for those ancients in India that discovered the practice that we benefit today, knowing that it was not anything that we did, but it was just passed down generously. Exhale to lower the chin to the chest. Om Shanti, peace. Thank you so much.